Should you be carb cycling with intermittent fasting if you're looking to achieve a weight loss goal? Today we're going to be diving into exactly what you need to know about carb cycling and intermittent fasting. But if you're new here, my name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's nutrition human performance. On my channel, I talk a lot about intermittent fasting and how you can use intermittent fasting to achieve your weight loss and wellness goals. So if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. So in essence, carb cycling is a theory that you take a few days or maybe even a few weeks of a lower carbohydrate diet in order to tap into fat burning. And then you strategically add in 1 or 2 higher carbohydrate days in order to top your muscles off with energy and to get the muscle building perks. Now, the first thing that you need to know is that intermittent fasting is a little different because it isn't inherently a single diet. It tells you when to eat, not what to eat. And intermittent fasting helps you burn fat as fuel by allowing the storing hormone insulin to naturally dip down during your fast. This turns on the fat burning process called lipolysis, so your body can actually burn fat as fuel, and specifically during that fast. Not to mention, you also get elevated growth hormone during the fast, which is really muscle protective. So you aren't necessarily low carb when you're using intermittent fasting, but you are burning fat as fuel during that fast. Now from here, it's important to figure out your own carbohydrate sensitivity. Some people can thrive on a little bit more carbohydrates in their diet while still easily shifting back into that state of burning fat as fuel, while others are more sensitive to carbohydrates and won't benefit from adding in these various higher carbohydrate days. Typically, if you have PCOS, if you're insulin resistant or have type 2 diabetes, or if you have a lot of difficulties losing weight, you are likely going to be carbohydrate sensitive. And adding in these various higher carbohydrate days alongside your intermittent fasting schedule is likely not going to work for your weight loss goals. And if you're wondering if you are carbohydrate sensitive, I do have a free quiz to help you determine if you might be carbohydrate sensitive. I'll have that link down description below. Just click the little show more icon or the little arrow, and you'll be able to find the links that I mentioned from today's video. Now, assuming that you aren't carbohydrate sensitive, should you be adding in these various higher carbohydrate days with intermittent fasting? Now, definitely one of the main perks of adding these various higher carbohydrate days in is that it does provide some flexibility to your meals. But the theory and the claim that it'll actually help to accelerate your fat loss isn't entirely accurate. Okay guys, Autumn from the future here while I'm editing this video. One thing I wanted to point out is that when you actually compare higher carbohydrate days to lower carbohydrate days and what the actual effect is on weight loss, a multitude of studies have found that the lower carbohydrate days will be better at burning fat as fuel. So in terms of carb cycling helping to break through a weight loss plateau, there's not really a lot of evidence or even mechanisms to show this to be true. However, the other side of carb cycling is that it could potentially help to increase muscle mass, and this is where these next 2 studies come in. One small study found that by adding in carbohydrates along with protein didn't actually increase muscle synthesis. Muscle synthesis, which essentially just means new creation of muscle. But on the flip side, another study found that when you add fat in along with the same amount of protein, it actually helps to increase muscle synthesis more than just the protein alone. So if you're looking to add in carbohydrate to specifically help with increased fat loss or increased muscle mass, there isn't really evidence to show that that will help. In fact, those higher starches could potentially cause more of a plateau because they do raise that storing hormone insulin. However, there is one caveat, and this is that a little bit of those higher quality carbohydrates could actually help to improve your sleep quality. By having a little bit of those starchier carbohydrates like sweet potato or beans alongside your dinner, it could actually help to improve your sleep quality, and poor quality sleep is directly associated with weight gain around the belly. So by improving your sleep quality, you could help with your weight loss goals from that aspect. But it is important to remember this is highly dependent on your own carbohydrate sensitivity level. So definitely make sure you check out that quiz below if you're unsure on your carbohydrate sensitivity. Now, if you're going to add in a couple higher carbohydrate days for that flexibility and possibly to help improve your sleep quality, there are 2 really important best practices that you want to keep in mind. First of all, to help reduce that insulin spike, which is our storing hormone from eating those starches, you'll want to have those higher starchy meals on days when you have a higher intensity exercise or when you're using a lot of strength training. So for example, if you're doing like a leg day or a high intensity interval training day, that would be a really good day to add in a higher quality starch. Because when you do these higher intensity days or you're pushing yourself harder with strength training, it makes your muscles act almost like a sponge and soak up that excess glucose from the blood supply. And this makes it so the body doesn't have to release as much insulin in order to bring it back down. So you help to temper that insulin effect by pairing those higher starches on higher intensity interval training days. And the second best practice is to try and have that starch in the evening or alongside your dinner. This has helped to specifically optimize for that higher quality sleep. Not to mention, if you have starches earlier in the day, it can lead to more of those unstable blood glucose levels where you get spikes and falls, and therefore lead to more cravings for more of those starches or even sugar. sugars. So to help reduce the cravings for sugars or starches throughout the day, while still reaping the benefits of higher quality sleep, you can strategically have those starches in the evening with your dinner. But this doesn't mean to load up on like pizza or pasta. No matter how great your workout, that's still going to result in a huge spike in your blood glucose and a huge spike in the storing hormone insulin because it is so refined. But instead focus on those really high quality starches like beans or lentils or sweet potatoes, foods that are less refined and therefore will have a slower release into the body and less of an impact on insulin as a result. Now, if you've been using intermittent fasting for a while and you're still not losing weight, you should check out the 5 reasons why this might be happening with this video next. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out with new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.